What I'm going to do, I'm going to cover a little bit of the background around marketing automation. I'm going to understand which kind of companies adopt it and why they use it. What would be typical in a marketing automation tool set or stack, what the business impacts are if people were to adopt full marketing automation platforms. And then the next steps is learning a little bit more about what the next steps are. So I'm going to try and whiz through these things fairly swiftly. It means I can only be brief on the topics, and we'll make time at the end if people want to ask questions. Marketing automation, if we look at the Google definition, it basically talks about automating repetitive marketing tasks, it talks about streamlining processes, enhancing customer engagement and driving business. What it doesn't really do is help you understand who implements it, how they implement it, and why they implement it. So I'm going to try and cover some of those elements as we go through this presentation. I'm going to start with effectively the sales funnel. Most business owners kind of assume that you have a nice little sales funnel where somebody gets made aware, they consider a product, they purchase it, you retain them, and they become an advocate of you. And it's a nice little streamlined funnel that they go through. The reality is that it's not sales driven these days. Actually, buyers make the decisions and buyers go through a buyer's journey. So buyers, unfortunately, don't follow any nice convention. They do things quite radically. Some of them may start by seeing a social ad. Others might visit a website. Others might have had a particular need or problem occur. Somebody might have received a newsletter. So it's very difficult to know exactly how the buyer process starts, and it's very difficult to know what process they take because they interact with different elements in the process through the buying process. Each buyer journey is unique. No two people buy the same way. We each have our own unique buying list. What's important to us is not necessarily important to somebody else. And we all like to buy at our own pace. Some people make snap quick decisions. Other people like to consider at length their purchase and can take time over it. So it's very difficult to map the exact buyer journey, i.e. the customer journey with your business. However, buyers do leave clues because we live in a digital world today. So as you go through your buyer journey, you can leave traces. Particularly, you might look at certain search terms in a search engine. You might be looking at a comparison site or downloading documents or doing reviews, looking at reviews, or doing some brand due diligence. And typically in a buyer journey for a considered purchase, you'll take 22 to 25 touch points with a business before you actually make that purchase. What's interesting is around 19 of those, the majority of those touch points, are done self-served, i.e. it's your own research because you're buying and you go through the buying process. So we've had an evolution in sales and marketing over the last 20, 30 years, where the days are gone where the sales controlled the buying process. It used to be a sales process where the salesperson would be involved much earlier in the sales discussion. Nowadays, it's much more marketing driven, and there's an awful emphasis on getting this marketing, understanding how people and marketing work with your customers. And the sales tend to pick up right at the very end of that buyer journey when somebody actually interacts directly with the company. So over the last years, there is this concept, something called a MarTech map, which is marketing technologies have proliferated over the years to try and help people get an insight into different parts of the buyer's journey so you could understand what's happening. With the idea being that if as a marketer you had those insights, it could help you better navigate people through the buyer process. MarTech have produced here, they do this every year. It's they try and document all the different marketing technologies there are out there. And effectively this year in 2024, this map, which I'm showing you a little insert here, shows you all the different companies that do social media marketing, live chat, chatbots, etc. There's 14,000 different technologies out there in the marketplace. Most companies don't need all 14,000. It's impossible to follow them all. What they tend to do is have a stack that they use within their marketing processes. Now, nearly all companies start with a CRM. You have some kind of CRM as a base of the stack, and then they may well add something like an email marketing engine. So quite often you'll end up with MailChimp or Constant Contact or Emma or one of those. You'll very quickly realize you might need a form solution, so you'll get a form stack. You might want to do your social media marketing all through a social media management service like Hootsuite or Sendable. You might want to do some blogs. You might look at your website. You might want to look at analytics of who visits your website, um, and further analytics. And the idea is you end up creating a series of technologies that you're trying to connect together to try and give you a picture of the overall buyer's journey. The reality is, as much as you do it, these are bolt-ons, and you end up with something that kind of works, but it is definitely a bolt-on and is not as efficient and as easy to navigate and use as you'd expect. And this is the conundrum that a lot of companies come up to, which is, what do I do when my stack gets to the point it's difficult to know how to use it effectively and streamlined? So around about 20 years ago, a company called HubSpot coined the phrase inbound marketing and also brought up the first concept that inbound marketing needs to be automated. So HubSpot were the first entrant. They came in at the same time as Salesforce, Pardot, Oracle, and Marketo. These guys went for the large companies, the big enterprise solutions, and they would charge 20, 30,000, 40,000 pounds a year to have a license for their solution. Over the years, this concept of a single platform solution that gives you the whole visibility of the buyer's journey has moved down through the stack and to smaller companies. So now, as a small company, you can get HubSpot as a free CRM, but you can get things like Pipedrive, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Infusionsoft. They're not as fully featured as the big boys, but they allow you to have an entry slot, which may be £100, £200, £300 a month moving up. And then we have some here in the middle, like we quite work a lot with Constant Contact, Lead Gen CRM, which has the full feature set, but it's a much more moderately priced, about a quarter of the price of these big boys. So there's lots of these in the market. And what they're offering is a single platform. So the single platform is a single platform. Everything is integrated into one solution. So you have what's needed to go through the life cycle. So you've got your attract, you've got your capture, you've got your engage. You've got your convert and expand. So the life cycle is, customer life cycle is within the system. And all of the ingredients are built in and fully integrated. So you have your ads, your marketing automation, your email, your CRM, and your sales engagement in one solution. Advantages are, one, it gives you a single contract relationship. You don't need to worry about all the integrations. It's one platform, so you only need to learn it once. You don't have to learn nine or 10 different platforms. It's connected and seamless. It uses a single database, and that's important. So you don't end up with databases in different technologies, parts of the technology stack. It will have a unified analytics, so you can see end-to-end ROI, and it will be compliance friendly because everything's in one place. All of your data, you only got to manage and worry about customer data in one location. So it helps with your GDPR and subject access requests, etc. So every piece works together to deliver better results in every interaction. So what you're ending up with is a nice, sleek, well-designed, streamlined vehicle, which will navigate you through the buyers and sales and marketing process. If you actually go into the platforms and have a look at them, then what you'll find is all of the classic technologies in there. However, what's important to understand is that the CRM, which is really a sales function, leads, opportunities, tasks, and reporting, is in the same system as all of the marketing systems. So what you have is a single solution that works for both sales and marketing. So thereby the two of them are now working directly in the same platform. So you don't have the issues of losing leads being passed between the two functions. So within that single platform now, you can do all your marketing activities from your Google Ads and display after. You can do all your engagement. So the sales guys can do the outbound dialing, set up virtual meetings, do the LinkedIn work. You've got your chatbots on your website. You've got your conversion of your pipeline management. You've got lead scoring, and you've got all the measurement analytics in one place. So the beauty of a single platform is it is actually the nirvana. It allows you to see everything in one place. Benefits, quite a clear set of benefits. The first one is business alignment. In going down a single platform, what you're doing is getting the sales and marketing team to work together as one. The advantage of that is immediately you get clarity on your target market. So both parties are knowing that they're working with the same kind of clients, and you get consistency of message. Result of that, you tend to get a better customer service or customer experience. Your customers start getting the right messages at the right time rather than things being completely out of sequence. You get improved productivity because the teams are working together on the same focus. You have higher value of sales because you're not losing some that drop through the floor. You have a better quality of referral that comes through for the sales guys because they've been properly qualified, and you'll get a better conversion. Typically, a single platform implemented system that's set up correctly will generate you 20 to 30% increase in sales within 6 months. That's the kind of benefits that you can get here. And you have visibility control. Everything's in one place. So all of your ownership and management of your data sits in one location. And once you work out how to focus on what works and you repeat it again and again and again, then it's going to drive and improve your ROI. There's various other benefits here that I can show on the side, but these are what companies typically reason they go down this route. So if we look at how it works, so in terms of visibility and ROI, this is giving an example from a real customer here. I've obviously hidden some of the data. You can actually see which leads are coming in each week. You can see where the leads are coming from, which particular campaign or mechanism brought them into the business. You can see where those different campaigns are, how many leads came in for each, how many sales have resulted, how many you've lost, how many are working opportunities, what the value are of each of your sales, and you can actually see the return or the sales that you get. So here over this quarter, they got £6.5 million worth of sales off of 1,254 engaged leads, which means they're getting a return of around about £5,000 per lead. So for the first time, and I've been doing marketing for 20 odd years, you actually have a dashboard that gives you all the information in one slot to really understand exactly where your customer's coming from, what they're doing in terms of how they interact with you, and what the actual return on investment you're getting out of it. So selecting a marketing automation solution, do you need one? Is it right for you? Is it something you need to think about? So 3 things you need to think about if you're thinking about marketing automation. So 1, do you actually need it? I.e., do you understand your customer journey? Would you know what you would need it to do? So like all these things, you need to do a needs analysis. Do you know what the touch points are that your customers are going to do when they interact with your business? So in other words, do you need to be able to do seminars, webinars, articles, social media, etc.? What are all the elements that you need to measure? What are those touch points? Okay, if there are multiple touch points, then it probably means that it's a considered purchase. It's not instant. So again, the more considered a purchase is, the better marketing automation works. And then the other thing is that this is not for the faint-hearted. You need to put some work in to invest in this, because there's quite a lot of work up front in terms of building all of the automation workflows so that you can automate the process for your clients. Your next question then is, and I do put the point here, which is if you don't do it, watch out, because if you're not doing it, your competitors will be, and they'll quite happily sneak or take a lead from you from under your nose without you even knowing that you ever lost it. Scaling. Do you need an all-in one platform now? Maybe not, but you ought to have a roadmap, which is, do you know what elements of the stack you're going to need, which comes from the top one? How many of those elements have I got today? How many am I going to need? And at what point is there a cost benefit to flip between the two? And you'll probably need a bit of help with that, but that's the kind of thing that we do. Third one is the management of it. There is time involved, there's skills needed and resources. There are basically 3 different models that you can approach. One, you can outsource it, so you can have an agency to set up the whole automation process for you. The other one is in-house, which is most people's preference, which is you want to build the skill set up within your own business. But you need a marketing champion, and you need them to be trained to know what they need to do. A lot of the big boys give you training manuals or training videos or training processes, but sometimes it's actually quite better almost to have a hybrid solution where somebody comes in, helps you set up, and then once it's set up, they transfer the knowledge and skills to you so you can move forward. So there's 3 key ways that you can go around getting the process set up. That brings me to my overview on marketing automation, what it involves. We now have 2 more steps or 2 more webinars. One's in 2 weeks on the 9th of April, and this covers the tactics. So if you had a marketing automation solution, what are the solutions you need to put in place for success? So I will talk at the next one about what you need to do to be able to do your lead generation properly, do your cross-selling, upselling, etc., and give you some of the tips and techniques that are used by real companies out there to make their automation work for them. And then in about a month from now, 23rd of April, we're going to be doing future marketing automation. So I'm going to bring in what's the impact of AI? How is AI going to change the landscape around marketing automation? And the other one that's big at the moment is privacy versus personalization. As we become more and more guarded about our privacy, how is that going to impact automation where we're trying to get information from lots of different points? So please, you'll automatically get an invite to those, or you can go here if you want to just get some general information on marketing automation.